Welcome to episode 6 of Keepin' It a Hundo. I'm your host, Hundo. Today's guest is Mikkey Halsted. He's a rapper from the south side of Chicago. He's got a crazy story to tell. We're going to break this episode into 2 parts because the conversation went long and we also recorded in 2 different locations. The first part was recorded in a hallway at Soho House in Chicago. It was supposed to be recorded in a movie theater inside a Soho House. So the second part is in there and the sound quality is better. And so we're going to break it into 2 parts because it's a lot in there. It's a lot of stuff. He's our first rapper and he's legit. He came up rapping with a kid by the name of Kanye West before he was Yeesus. And they were both offered deals with cash money at the same time. And we know Birdman is famous for his unorthodox style of negotiating contracts, and this is no different. So check out this conversation and make sure you're downloading and subscribing and you're telling your friends and you're sharing it. Leave some comments. Tell me who you want to see on the show. I'd love to hear some ideas and tell me what you think works and what doesn't work. So here's episode 6 of Keepin' It a Hundo with Mikkey Halsted. I was first introduced to Mikkey Halsted by my boy Courtney. Courtney is an accomplished director. He's also one of my best friends. In the industry, he's known as Noise. He's worked with some of the biggest acts in the country. And I always ask him, like, put me on, who you been working with, put me on, I want to hear some new stuff. And I would just check out guys he's working with, some of them known, some of them lesser known. And he put me on to this guy, Mikkey Halsted. So I liked what I heard, and I wondered why wasn't this guy more of a household name? So I started researching him and found out this guy's had quite an interesting career. So he's been big in Chicago since the late 90s. He was working with a kid by the name of Kanye West. You might have heard of him. He teamed up with Kanye. Kanye made beats for him. He rapped over Kanye's beats. And the stuff they were doing together got the attention of Birdman and Lil Wayne. They couldn't stop listening to it on their tour bus. Lil Wayne even told XXL magazine that Mikkey was his musical inspiration. So Birdman eventually offered Kanye and Mikkey a deal. Birdman really wanted to sign them, and to get it done, he would use guerrilla tactics, as Mikkey will explain later. But Mikkey signed to Cash Money against his better judgment, and as we know, Kanye had his eyes set on something else, and he headed east and signed with Roc-A-Fella. So you know, on Kanye's first album, College Dropout, he's got that track called Last Call. And he talks about how he ended up at Roc-A-Fella. Well, that's Mikkey he's talking about. So as far as Kanye goes, the rest is history. But Mikkey's story doesn't exactly go the same way. He's tough as leather in the winter, and he's cool as linen in the summer. This is part 1 of my conversation with Mikkey Halsted. You been watching The Chi on Showtime?
A little bit, man.
Yeah.
A little bit. Common is my brother, so I wouldn't want to say nothing negative about it. I think it's a dope show, dope concept. I wish that it felt a little more like authentic for the language of Chicago and the characters. I know you got to really cast like real actors and stuff like that, but at the same time, it's like
This show could be shot anywhere. It doesn't have the vibe that makes you think, oh yeah, this is definitely
Chicago.
Chicago.
Yeah. It could be anywhere. It's basically what you said. It is, but
Could use some home cooking.
Yeah, that real lingo to let kind of people into our world. Like sometimes I think that's really important. Just having somebody that understands the colloquialisms of local culture. You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly how to put it. Colloquialisms.
Yeah, really.
All right, I knew you were a smart guy.
You crazy.
So, tell me where you grew up.
Man, I grew up south side of Chicago, 116th and Morgan. area called the Hundreds. That's like the
Wild 100s.
Wild Hundreds. Yeah, they call it the Wild 100s. Specifically, my neighborhood was an area called Ragtown, Morgan Park area. It's just like kind of like the wrong side of the tracks, like right across the tracks, a mile or so away. You got what they call Beverly Hills. It was a kind of peculiar neighborhood, but we had like a mixture of these Section 8 townhomes, like I lived in, with some houses, and then we had the apartments where it's like people stacked up on each other. So my neighborhood was kind of diverse in that you had kind of some people in a couple block radius that were, for what we thought, doing pretty good, you know what I'm saying? And then you had...
It's all relative.
It's all relative, you know what I'm saying? So growing up poor, I didn't really feel poor until I started really noticing the effects of crack cocaine, you know what I'm saying, and what it was doing to the neighborhood. Kind of
because you grew up when I did, probably in the 80s.
Yeah, I grew up in the 80s, seeing the effects of crack cocaine like on my family. Like if you were born in our era, like mid to late 70s, right? Crack really started taking a hold like 84, 85. Yeah. So it's like it was a time before crack. You know what I'm saying? I call it like the pre-crack era, you know. Once crack came, immediately changes in my family dynamic. Like my aunts and uncles dabbled in it first, and eventually my father got caught up in it. Then I really started feeling the effects of, I felt poor, you know what I'm saying? And that was a feeling that kind of sticks to my ribs still to this day, that I always wanted to escape. You know, that was like my goal. Like I had a great father, and he's not with us anymore today, but rest in peace. But especially for the first 10 years of my life, like he was the epitome of a dynamic, all around great dad. You feel what I'm saying? So it was like I had the benefit. My younger sister, who's 5 years younger than me, kind of didn't really. She knows he's a great man, but at the end of the day, like she got more of the crack era family.
That's probably why you didn't feel as poor or as bad as maybe some of your friends were, because you had a dad.
I had a dad.
Most people
didn't. Most people didn't have a dad, and my dad was the neighborhood dad.
Yeah,
like he was like a legendary basketball player in the city. So it's like everybody, like where I went, I felt like my dad was like, everybody knew him. Man, your daddy was this, your daddy was that, your dad, boy, your dad. Like, and so I always felt like the sense of pride. And he didn't make it to the NBA, which was like a really depressing thing in his life. I tell people all the time, man, like, and being in the rap game for a minute, really like solidified that it's no more pressure than being famous and poor. You feel what I'm saying? And not rich. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like that's the ultimate pressure. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, all right, it's almost as fame is a drug in and of itself, but you want to sometimes be able to just wish that you could just blend in and get off the radar, because
I think a lot of people don't realize there's a difference.
Yeah, it's really
because not everybody famous is rich.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, and I learned a lot from my father, because he didn't really hide anything from me. Even when he got hooked on drugs, he explained it to me. Like, he let me know this is a struggle. He's really, like, he made a real bad decision. He'd tell me, like, we knew, like, don't do heroin. Like, we knew junkies. So it's like, we laughed at junkies. But, like, it's a certain part of the 80s where it was cocaine and speed and all this
coke
shit.
Was, like, acceptable.
And
everybody in the
acceptable.
NBA was doing
it's
coke.
Like, that's what the ball players were doing.
Hollywood, all the actors and all
doing, and everybody. And so, like, crack came on the scene, and in a way, it's like, oh, this just like fast food coke.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, you're a crackhead. It's like, go to a party and somebody puts it out, and this is what they doing. My father was a casualty of that. I'm not a real big conspiracy theorist, but it's like, it always just befuddled me, like, all right, who invented crack? Like, how did this become like a nationwide phenomenon? Like, how did it just sweep the nation all of a sudden? Like,
I saw recently in a show that it was a dude in Bolivia and they were getting this stuff straight from like Colombia down where like coke comes from, and some dude in Bolivia just started like smoking it, like cooking it and smoking it, and then that spread. You know, they told somebody who lives up in the States, and it just came up there.
That's crazy.
But I saw it in the documentary.
That's crazy. Man, you gotta point me to that. You gotta send that to me. I'm gonna watch that. But
it was interesting.
But it was and I've heard all CIA conspiracies, and it could correlate with what you're saying at the same time, but it just always befuddled me like, damn, like all of a sudden this crack cocaine.
The crack laws are definitely definitely
that's
conspiracy.
Yeah, that's not even
that's
conspiracy. It's just proven fact, you know. And the fact that it just I saw it ravage the hood, and it kind of like I said in one of my songs, man, it's like Jordan and crack kind of like hit in the same like year and time, and it was like a crazy.
He signed his deal in '84, I think, with Nike.
Exactly. So it's like at the end of the day, it was like a real. I'm about 10 years old, right in the midst of seeing like the transition, and so I went from like feeling like this privileged kid, because like we were in the townhomes, not the nice houses, but townhomes. But I had my dad, you know what I'm saying, and he was like the coach. He would pick the kids up from the neighborhood, take us to play football in different leagues, and we'd play basketball. He was a presence. He was a presence, like a central figure in the neighborhood, you know, because like, you know, you had your winos in the neighborhood, you had your pimps, and you had your prostitutes in the neighborhood. You had a lot of fast shit going on. You had they call them smack heads, you know what I'm saying, like heroin users and like people that just looked like
zombies. You
could never even imagine that my old man would be like on substance. And even when he was on the substance, like he still maintained a job until he died. But it just takes a toll on the household, like, you know, coming home and the TV is not there, and then the TV is back, and then, you know what I'm saying, it's like to the point where, like, you know, we used to just go hustle and go to the local grocery store. Excuse me, man, carry your bags for a little change. And like Payless had these fake Jordans that, you know what I'm saying, mothers was buying their kids, and you didn't want to be the kid with the damn Pro Wings on, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, Pro Wings, man. Yeah, you wasn't gonna get no ladies with the Pro Wings, Jack, you know? I just had an insatiable drive, kind of in a way, like, not to be poor. Once I realized I was poor, especially like when I went to high school, like I went to play basketball in a high school that was in the suburbs, and so like really seeing like 16-year-olds pulling up in 3 Series BMWs and all type of shit, and it's like, damn, like I'm really fucking
then it sinks
poor.
in.
Like you go to some of their cribs and it's like, oh shit, like nigga, we're fucked up. Like, yeah, it's just crazy. And so that made me really figure like, all right, man, let me get to it. And my father used to have a saying, and he was transparent, like, man, you know, I know basketball, really, that's all I know, and I'm gonna teach you that. And if you don't get a scholarship, it's because you ain't really want to work hard, you know what I'm saying? So you should at least get a free education out of this and use basketball. Don't let basketball use you like it used me, you know? Get your education and take it serious and, you know, do what he did. Like, so he was actually the first person in our family ever to go to college. He had a scholarship to Bradley University and then St. Louis University, got in some troubles and got kicked out, you know what I'm saying? And didn't get a chance to make it to the next level. I wish he was still here, but I feel like at least he left me equipped with like a compass on how to navigate through shit.
Today's guest on Keepin' in the Hundo is Mikkey Halsted. He's from the south side of Chicago.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna get to some of that. Mikkey, shut off your phone.
I'm sorry.
How rude. Nah, you're good. We're gonna get back to some of that basketball stuff. Let's get to some music.
Mm-hmm.
In 1999, you were featured on an album by the Go-Getters,
yeah,
a Chicago group that included a young man by the name of Kanye West.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about that a little bit. You met Kanye through your sister?
I met Ye through my sister. So yeah, really I was the first rapper. It was this my buddy Cedric Grissett, man, and he's still locked up. I got to write him. It just made me remember him. Buddy Cedric Grissett lived across the street. He had a rap contest, right? And before then, it was these, rap was exploding at that time. It was
How old are you at this point?
I'm like 10, 11 maybe. And he had this birthday party, and BDP was out, and Rakim was out, and it was like this rap special that came on that I recorded on the VHS, right? And it was this rapper, like, he was like something from Chicago. I'm a Pretty Boy Floyd. And so back then, like, I learned and memorized that rap so raw, right? But it was like a show that came on like late at night on like an off-brand channel. So like this birthday party comes, right? And they like, we having a rap contest for this prize or that prize. And so people got to rapping, and I'm like, man, I'm about to say this Pretty Boy Floyd rap, right? And so I rapped Pretty Boy Floyd, won the rap contest, got the little $10 or whatever it was. And it's like, that was one of the illest feelings in the world. Like, even though people thought it was my rap, you know what I'm saying? So I started out as a biter,
There was a kid in my middle school who had BDP shaved in his head.
Stop playing.
Yeah. He had lines in his head and BDP on the back.
Damn, that's dope.
Yeah.
So KRS-One and Rakim, like, they were like everything to me growing up, So that started our rap foray. And then so I'm playing ball. I'm focused on that. I played baseball, basketball, and football in high school. And so I'm really trying to figure a way to get out of poverty. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm thinking about. Like, what's the quickest way to get get some millions, And rapping wasn't one of them, because rap wasn't like New York or even the East Coast, right, where it's like, you had an industry, you knew these people that were signed.
Didn't have a name.
They had no rappers, it wasn't nobody rapping, like, for real. Like, even when we heard a Common and Twister, like,
Do or Die,
like, even then, it's like it didn't really register, like, man, I should try to, like, do that. But I always was like, I got off into freestyling. Like, I got off into hip hop, like, just as a fan, and freestyling and the culture, and tried to break dance and shit. I wasn't that good, but I tried to break dance, and I was always like the best freestyler among my neighborhood, my homies. So my homies would take me like to the other neighborhood or the other clique, and I'd battle their best rapper. And so I was that kid, right? And so my brother, though, he was really like writing raps, like doing talent shows and shit like that. And my sister was like behind him, like listening.
So your brother's the oldest?
My brother's the youngest.
Yes.
My brother's a year and a half younger than me.
And then what's your sister?
My sister's 5 years younger than me.
Oh, okay.
And so he was influencing my sister, and she started writing raps, like, and her raps was fucking dope. Like, I'm like, damn, yo, shit good. Like, next thing you know, like, she's rapping in contests, and it's this legendary, like, Grammy-winning jazz musician named Ramsey Lewis, and he started this rap label called Ivy Pyramid. She was his first, like, rap signee. So she was like 15, 16 years old. She got a record deal. She had some real talent. Like, so she was the first. She had a deal, and so they looking for production for her. She bumps into Kanye at the mall, and Kanye, if you walk up to him, it's like, he trying to holler at every girl or whatever, and I guess they talk, and she like, I'm a rapper. He like, I'm the best producer. I'm this, and they clicked, and all of a sudden, she brought him down to Ramsey Lewis.
And he's in like high school at this point.
He's like he's just starting at Chicago State at this time.
Okay.
She's in high school.
Okay.
And maybe he's a senior, but he's like senior, freshman year type. And so she's younger. She's like freshman, sophomore, like something like that. So sophomore in high school. And so she got this budget, and she got to find production. And so, like, he became she brought him down to Ramsey Lewis, and he became like her producer. And so she would always be over his mama crib. They'd be making music, and I had went away to college on a basketball scholarship. And so when I would come back, I would just come check on my sister. Like, man, who is y'all? You with these dudes? Like, you know, I don't know if they trying to hit it. What they doing? They you writing songs? Like, it really still wasn't real with me. Like,
how professional is this
right?
relationship?
Like, what's really going on? Like, for real? Like, and so I would just go over there, check on him, and she'll be telling him like, my brother could rap better than all y'all. You should listen to my brother. And I'll be like, man, you know, I ain't really thinking about no rap, Christina. And so one day I go over there, and like his house was like the who's who of like the young up and coming Chicago rappers. They was in his mama crib, and like it was GLC.
I would say GLC.
It was Shauna and Tifa from Infamous Syndicate, and she was later with DTP. It was Cap One, who was signed, and now he's with like with 2 Chainz, and it's like it was all of these people. Rhyme Fest, Legendary Battler, like it was like Twan Gabs. It was like all of these dope MCs over there and rapping. And I guess one day I came over there and I was rapping, and he was like, "Damn, boy, you like really dope. Like, you think you been writing? You write raps?" I'm like, I never wrote a rap. And he was like, "Man, take this beat. Maybe it was a CD or tape, one of them. Take these beats and see what you come up with." Cause I like killed the freestyle shit, right? And I was like, "All right, bet." I go home that same night. I write 3 songs. Come back the next day. He like, "Man, what's up, man? When you gonna finish the records?" I'm like, "I'm done." Like, he like, "Go in the closet." The booth was the closet, right? Like, go in the closet, lay him then. Man, I one of the raps songs I did was called "Foolish Game," which kind of like turned into like a Chicago classic. Like, I did that record, and he was blown away. Like, damn, like this is one of the dopest songs. Like, it's crazy. And he wanted to sign me to what was then before Good Music. It was called Conman Productions. And so, man, all I really wanted for them to sign me was a 2-way pager at the time, you know. So it wasn't no money exchange or nothing like that.
Sky pager?
Yeah, I wanted one of them 2-way pages, them like time ports at the time.
Oh yeah, at this point it's like 1998 or something.
Yeah. Like I wanted one of them. It's like
2 ways. T-Mobile.
Yeah. And so I got me one of those, and I got beats and started doing it. And next thing you know, like my demo was like, all of a sudden overnight, people was really saying like the consensus on the street was like I was the best rapper in the city. And it's like, shit was kind of crazy to me, because in college, like, I was having a good season. I was approaching like senior year. I was like, I had my sights on at least playing ball overseas and maybe getting a shot to play in the NBA, you know? To kind of fulfill what my father's dreams were. So that kind of happened. Music kind of just, for some reason, just was so, the rush was like the basketball court to me. And it was like, it seemed like a fast track to getting to the ultimate goal, which was money. So like I had like an offer to play like in Slovenia and some other places, but like music was right there. Like he had, at that point, Kanye was doing beats for Jay at that time. He had did a lot of shit for like bad boy artists. He was ghost producing for Derek D. Angeletti, and so like I was seeing it happen like right then before my eyes.
Through him.
Yeah, he was blowing up through him, like going crazy. So they were working with Eminem and Nas and all these people like that I was like huge fans of, and like I could listen to my songs next to their songs and be like, damn, like I can be one of the best. Like that was my whole thing. Like, man, I could be one of the best. I could do that, you know? And so all of a sudden I'm a rapper. Next thing you know, Cash Money Rough Rider tour happens, and they come into Chicago, and some of my my dope boy cousins and they homies used to like go gamble with Cash Money. Like when tours come in town, like the heavies in each city, like the big street guys, they'd go mess with, you know, the rappers.
Yeah.
And, you know, so they'd go mess with them, and somehow my demo that was just circulating like wildfire through the city got in the hands of Baby and Wayne. And next thing you know, I'm getting calls like, man, bro, Baby said they ain't took your CD out the bus like in 2 weeks. Like, he wants you to come to New Orleans, like right now. Like, I'm like, well, I'm signed to Kanye, so Kanye gotta go. Ye ends up going. I'm like, Ye, he a big fan of them. I really wasn't. And so I sent Kanye down. I can't say I was a total like East Coast head, but I was a hip hop head. I messed with Cube on the West Coast. I messed with Cam on the West Coast. I messed with a lot of West Coast acts.
That's how everybody was where I'm from. Like, in Boston, nobody was listening to Cash Money or any of that stuff.
Yeah, I wasn't listening.
When I went down to Miami, that's when everything changed.
Yeah, like, so I wasn't really in tune. Like, I would see the videos. I saw that they was rich, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, I felt like I would rather be like on Roc-A-Fella, you know what I'm saying? So Kanye was messing with Roc-A-Fella, but I sent him down there, and he was like, man, they love you. They want to sign the whole Common Productions. They were even talking about doing like Cash Money Midwest and all kind of stuff. Like, it was just crazy to me that people were that enthralled with my music for real, because it's not something that I like really took serious. It's like writing raps came super like easy to me.
You weren't putting your all into it.
Yeah, I wasn't even.
Basketball was your focus, and
basketball was my focus. Like, writing a rap was like a release. Like, all right, this is a dope ass beat. I was always a good student and a great writer. Like, that was my strong point. Like, I felt like I really should have went to law school. Like, and that's what my plan was. Like, I was applying LSAT, all of that. Like, I wanted to go to Northwestern Law. They had a program where they did all this forensic evidence, and they went and looked at convictions and started trying to overturn like wrongful convictions, like especially like racist rulings that they felt. So like, yeah. I learned about that program one day while I was in high school. One of the teachers brought it up, and I felt like I would be perfect. Like, that's a path.
You would have a passion towards that.
Yeah, like I could be passionate about that. Like,
and you'd be good at it.
And I'd be, dope at it. You know. And so, shit, music fucked all that up. I probably got way more money if I just stuck to the education route. Money changes things. So
changes the path.
It does. So what happens is, Kanye like, man, they love you, man, but I don't really want to fuck with it. Like, they too like gangster for me. Like, this not really my wave. I kind of fuck with Jay and all of that. I'm like, well, damn. It's like, man, they don't seem like they fucking with me. Like, they've heard my music, they heard this. It's like, I don't know, it's like people was kind of saying like I had a similar tone as Jay at that time. And so like, Ye was doing things like, and it didn't bother me, it bothered some of the other rappers that rap with us. When he's selling a beat, he would play our songs as like, this beat is available too, right? And so like, sometimes it'll be a song and a concept, or you'll feel like, damn, that sounds a lot like my song. But he was like, man, basically, when I asked him about it, he was like, well, shit, they like it better when they can hear like how somebody attacked the beat, because this soul sample thing, it was a new style. Not to say it was like 100% like new, because the RZA had done it, other people had done it, but like he was taking like, Ye was taking like soul samples in a way like, under the tutelage of No ID, who was like really the godfather of that, you know what I'm saying? But he was taking them soul samples, and it was like different. So I guess Ye playing the songs for people was letting them know like, this is how you really can rap on those kind of beats. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he felt like the beats sold better with us on them, and he was giving them to us for nothing. We wasn't paying for them. So at the end of the day, it was his shit to do what he wanted to do with it, you know. So I never really tripped on that. I love Ye. He brought me into the music shit. I wouldn't even have wrote a rap probably if it wasn't for him. So, but at the same time, because people say, oh man, his tone is a little J-like, I felt like I wouldn't get a shot over there.
Was it true that Cash Money wasn't down with the sampling because they had to pay for it?
Yeah, they wasn't down. Well, and this, I'm gonna get to that in 1 second. He like, man, go down there, man. See what I'm gonna go see. I'm like, I'm gonna go see for myself. I'm like, do I have your blessing? He's like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? I ain't tripping. And so, but he was tripping. You know, it's like you could hear on Final Call, like that was him talking about me, like on the first album. When I heard that shit, like it really took me by surprise because I'm hearing it at the same time the rest of the world hearing it, and that shit really hurt.
Everybody's listened to the last call before and been like, I want to
call, like, like that was.
He's telling a story about you.
Yeah, so me and my sister go down there because they was like, man, he want to sign you and your sister. Go down there. They put us in the room. They bring in this lawyer Vernon, and Vernon has he was saying this is Biggie's lawyer. This contract the same as Biggie's contract. I'm like, man, can I get a lawyer? Like man, we ain't really got time. We trying to do this right now, man. You want to do this right now? Pulled the check out. Wrote the checks right then, right there, like, and I really didn't want to do the deal. I felt like pressured, like, you know, at this point, like, I had just graduated college. So I had a degree in education and I was about to go to law school. So at this point, it really was like, I'm gonna be straight. Like, I'm about to escape the cycle of poverty regardless, so I don't really care about this shit, you know what I'm saying? But my sister's looking at me with them big eyes like this is her lifelong dream. You feel what I'm saying? And even though it was like people was acting like I was the golden child, like being a rapper was something, not something that I woke up in the morning wanting to do. Like for real. It's just like a talent, you know? But it wasn't like this all I want to do in life type shit for me. You know what I'm saying? I'd much rather play in the NBA than been a rapper, you know? I probably would have enjoyed being a lawyer, but when you multi-talented, sometimes it could be a blessing and a curse, you know, because it's like it takes away that focus of one thing. Because my father was going through what he was going through and our family was going through what we were going through and everybody was broke and everybody was struggling, and I was like, man, we ain't never seen this much money. I fuck around and just caved into the pressure and I took the deal, signed it, no attorney, nothing. Under the premise, though, that Kanye was going to get paid, that they wanted the album that I had already, basically my demo, they were going to put that out. They were like, man, shit, you'll be out like in 6 months. Like, you know, you can do a cover shoot while you down here right now. Like, this is what we going to do. What's the album called? I said, Tears and Pain. You know what I'm saying? Shit, that's what it's been. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I want to, like, relay that and really bring, like, tell the gutter Chicago story because it had never been told. Even though Common, as great as he was, like my background and upbringing was a lot more crazy, you know what I'm saying, than the area that he was from. So,
more hood.
Yeah, so I wanted to bring more of a hood perspective. And Common is like was my favorite rapper though. Like nobody made me more proud than Common and Twista. Like because at the end of the day, like when I saw them do it, like I knew like they could do it. And when Common dropped Resurrection, like. To see that somebody from 87th Street could be on the same level like as Nas, like that really made me proud. Like gave me a sense of pride that I never felt like before. So that being said, I took the deal. They like, all right, Kanye gonna get cashed out. We're gonna pay him his price for all the beats, and then we good. I'm like, cool. They give me the check, give my sister the check, go to Chase, put that shit in the bank. Come back the next day to the office. They're like, man, come, let's celebrate. We got food and all that. And so baby calls me into the office and says, hey, man, we found out, man, Kanye samples, bro. We not going to be able to, like, because I call Ye, like, excited, like, hey, bro, man, 7,500 times 14 beats. Like, you about to get cashed out. Because he was struggling. He was trying to get to New York, all type of shit. And he like, all right, bet, man. Have me fly down. I'm gonna track the shit out and da 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 da.
Packed up the U-Haul van.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So, but then it comes with a caveat. I get back there the next day after I talked to Ye. It's like, man, all right, this is what it is. They like, man, no. Slim told me he samples, man, and we don't. That fucks up publishing money. We don't do no sampling, bro. Like Manny gonna recreate all those beats, bro. And I look, and I like my sister standing there, and she know me. Like I bug up, I spaz out, like I guess kind of being light skinned in like a crazy kind of ghetto neighborhood, and always being like I'm the only light skinned curly haired dude like in the neighborhood. Like
people trying you.
Everybody always tried me, like so I always played with an edge. You know what I'm saying? Everything in my life just kind of had an edge. My father's is brown skin, my brother's dark skin. It's like I just came out like this, and so it's like me and my mother the only really light skinned people in my whole family. You know what I'm saying? So I bugged up and said, man, fuck it then, bro. If he can't get paid, then I'll fucking quit. He like, what you mean quit? You can't quit. I could do what the fuck I want to. I don't have to. I'll quit. He like, well, give me my money back. I said, shit, it's in the bank right now, you know. But you can get the shit back. I ain't really tripping. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Ye can't get paid, then fuck it. And so it's like 30 niggas 30 goons all in the office, and it's like he's taking his shirt off. It's like a big ass show. He's screaming, yelling, who the fuck this motherfucker think he is? Da, 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 da. My sister there. And I'm like, basically my whole thought process is like, listen, my whole family know where we at. So you do some shit to me, G, it's gonna be a bus of GDs that's gonna be down here in a day. And it's gonna be a bloodbath in this motherfucker. So you could just let me walk out of here or not, however you want to play it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's whatever it is. It's like, and so like we got off to the worst start. Next thing you know, 5 minutes later he comes back and was like, man, all right, tell Ye to come down here. We gonna pay for 5 of them now, then we gonna pay for 5 of them later, and then we gonna do this and we ain't gonna redo this shit. And he was like, man, basically kind of like on some shit like, man, I respect how you stood up for your man, like, but he really didn't. It was really like, it was fucked up from the start. You know what I'm saying? It was like, who the fuck is you to stand up to me like that? You know what I'm saying? You little college boy, you feel what I'm saying? So basically told Ye that. Ye was like semi-happy because it wasn't what I told him at first. Like, he came down, tracked the beats out, did what he did, and went back, packed the U-Haul up, got that money, and headed to do what he did and go to make history and be Kanye West, you know. So that situation was like basically like doomed from the start, you know. And so we had our good times on the road, but like,
he really tried to change his style up though. Like, he wanted you to get the neck tattoos.
And the
white tees and the Reebok
white
classics.
tees, Reeboks, all that. Like, but I'm like, man, like I'm a polo type of dude. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, that should have never worked. And then I'm watching Kanye do the exact same thing and like fucking go crazy. But we had good times, but then we had bad times. We'll get into it. I wasn't getting the money I was supposed to. My project kept getting stalled. I recorded over 75 songs that I can never have, that I had to leave behind. I ended up leaving because I got into it with like, he was like 3rd or 4th in command at Cash Money. And he was like the guy that Baby would use like to send, like, for example, Greg Green to pay you, right? Like, oh, he got your money. Like, he's handling your flights. When your shit fucked up and you don't get your money, like, oh man, I told Greg to do it. So it's like you keep putting this middleman in between us to buffer. So
he's the scapegoat.
He's the scapegoat. And eventually, like, we was playing a video game, and like he was kind of goading me on and talking about how my shit ain't never gonna come out, and I'm a college boy, and he kind of like what he was speaking, he kind of like spit in my face. So basically, man, I told him, man, if another drop of spit touches my face, man, I'ma fuck you up. And I think he said like, I ain't gonna do shit and like it touched my cheek, and as soon as that drop of spit touched my cheek, I just totally blacked the fuck out. And by the time I came to, they was pulling me off of me. He was looking like he was dead. Like I seen his face like disfigured like right before my eyes, and I'm thinking like his blood's coming out of his mouth, nose, all type of shit, and like I'm like, please, Lord, when I just came to my senses, like, please don't tell me I done caught a murder or some shit like on the road with this dumbass rap shit. Like I'm scared. Like, wake the fuck up, dude. Like, and so when he finally snapped back to it, like I just got off the bus and I walked.
Hold up, is this the Shark bus?
It's the Shark. Well, no, the Shark bus was behind us, but we was playing video games on Baby's bus.
The bad news is that's all for today. But the good news is you don't have to wait a week to hear the rest of my conversation with Mikkey Halsted. I'll have that ready in a few days. You can hear about the time he gave J. Cole work on the basketball court, why he would never work with R. Kelly again, and we'll announce the top 5 Mickeys of all time. I appreciate the reposts on Instagram and the shares on Facebook. Shout out to Folio Sims, Carpaccio Simmons, Patricia Penechero, Shockey Kelly, Windy Jim, and Latif Fields. So early next week, we'll have the second part of my conversation with Mikkey Halsted. Also coming up, I'll have a conversation with my boy Courtney, aka Black Noise. We'll be breaking down what it takes to win an intramural championship and let you know what you should be watching on TV or Netflix or whatever. Thanks for listening to Keepin' It a Hundo.